At the beginning of the story, two Russian soldiers are huddled inside a small bunker, keeping watch on a German base. One of them is observing the enemy through binoculars when they suddenly come under fire. Seeing this, Lieutenant Laura realizes that the German soldiers are far greater in number, but they can be held back with machine guns. However, in such a situation, they desperately need a sniper. Fortunately, reinforcements are expected to arrive the next day, possibly bringing a sniper with them. In the next scene, another Russian soldier is traveling in a military truck. Here we are introduced to a soldier named Charon, who has come from Siberia. The soldiers are talking among themselves when an explosion suddenly echoes in the distance. A few of them panic at the sound, while others suggest it might be an attack launched by their own side. But the situation quickly proves otherwise. A German plane flies overhead and begins firing relentlessly at the truck. Within moments, several soldiers are killed, and the rest scramble for cover. Surviving an air attack in such an open field seems almost impossible. At that moment, Charon raises his rifle and takes aim at the German plane. He fires a carefully calculated shot, and soon the plane is no longer seen in the sky. The other soldiers are left stunned. While everyone else was struggling to save their own lives, Charon's courage stood out. In the following scene, Lieutenant Labora presents a war report to his commanding officer. He explains that most of his men are being killed by German forces. They urgently need reinforcements and, most importantly, a skilled sniper. The officer responds that there is a severe shortage of troops everywhere, making reinforcements nearly impossible to arrange. In such circumstances, he does not know how he can send help to Lieutenant Labora. The major mentions receiving a report that someone shot down a German plane. However, he does not know which sniper accomplished this. If that sniper were present, he could have been assigned to their unit. Even if the major has not realized it, you can probably guess who that soldier was. During their discussion, a soldier enters and reports that a 4-man reinforcement team has arrived at the base. He explains that there were more soldiers in the group, but the rest were killed by German forces. The officer asks whether any of the 4 are snipers. The soldier replies that none of them are snipers. Hearing this, Lieutenant Labora leaves in disappointment. In the next scene, another Russian soldier named Nikolai is inside a bunker, singing a song in memory of his daughter. A fellow soldier named Mikhail lies nearby, quietly listening to the song. Lieutenant Labora arrives and asks about the damage caused by the German plane. The soldiers explain that everyone except the 4 of them was killed in the attack. They add that even they would not have survived if Charon had not fired at the plane. Meanwhile, Charon enters the bunker and meets Nikolai and Mikhail. He had come inside after hearing a song being sung in their local language. From this, he understood that the singer was one of their own people, which is why he wanted to meet him. While Nikolai and Mikhail are talking, a sergeant suddenly appears and calls Charon away. Charon is taken directly to Lieutenant Labora. Labora steps forward and asks why Charon did not mention shooting down the plane in his report. Charon replies that he only fired a random shot and did not consider it important. However, Labora tells him that his precise shot destroyed the plane, which is a major achievement for them. He then decides to conduct a shooting test. His plan is simple. If Charon proves himself, he will appoint him as the team's sniper. Labora sets up 3 targets in front of him and orders him to fire at the wooden figures. As soon as the command is given, Charon shoots with remarkable precision, striking vital points on the targets. Seeing this, the lieutenant is astonished, as he has been searching for a sharpshooter like him. Labora tells him that he wants him to serve as the sniper for their unit, and asks if he is willing. Charon is stunned, because becoming a sniper is considered a great honor for any soldier. Without hesitation, he accepts the offer. After the test, Charon and the lieutenant return to the bunker. Suddenly, heavy bombing begins. The soldiers panic and take cover inside the bunker as dust and debris fill the air. Charon can do nothing at that moment because he does not yet have a sniper rifle. When the bombardment finally stops, German voices echo through loudspeakers. They call on the Russian soldiers to surrender and promise them safe passage. These words deeply disturb the men inside the bunker. A soldier named Mamin, overwhelmed by anger, climbs out of the bunker and begins shouting curses at the Germans. Within seconds, machine gun fire cuts him down. Another soldier rushes out to save him, but he is also shot and falls back into the bunker. After witnessing this, Lieutenant Labora hands Charon a sniper rifle and orders him to eliminate the German machine gunners. He explains that a machine gun takes 7 seconds to reload, and Charon must complete his task within that brief window. Understanding the urgency, Charon takes position and waits patiently. As soon as the enemy stops to reload, he rises swiftly and fires 3 rapid shots. All 3 machine gunners fall. The German sniper watching from the other side is stunned by the accuracy of his shots. He never expected the Russians to have such a skilled sniper. Not only the enemy, but even Lieutenant Labora is left astonished by Charon's flawless aim. He pats Charon on the back and tells him to prepare for the next mission. Meanwhile, German Major Braun reports the sniper attack to his superior officer, von Rulich. Major Braun urges him to take serious action against the Russians. Von Rulich becomes furious after hearing the report. He says he was told that the Russians were weak and had no snipers. But now, seeing the destruction they are causing, it is clear they cannot be taken lightly. He declares that they must respond with full preparation and strength. Meanwhile, at the Russian base, two officers, Lieutenant Shergrov and Sergeant Ponomario, arrive to meet Labora. At that moment, Labora is briefing Charon about the next mission. He informs Charon that a German sniper is hiding nearby, waiting for an opportunity to strike. This is the same sniper who was seen observing the Russians earlier. Labora explains to Charon and Gurav how they must move carefully through the bunker's narrow passages. They must cross a path filled with landmines and eliminate the hidden sniper. A soldier named Ivanov is assigned to operate the machine gun. The plan is that when Ivanov opens fire, the German sniper will try to target him. During that moment, Charon and Gurav will move closer and eliminate the enemy sniper. After explaining the strategy using a map, Charon and Gurav leave for the mission. The lieutenant then attends a meeting with the two newly arrived officers. During the discussion, it is revealed that they were sent by High Command. According to their information, the plane Charon shot down had fuel for only 10 minutes of flight. This means it was preparing to land shortly after completing its mission. This suggests that the Germans may have set up a nearby military base. They could be storing heavy weapons there to launch a final attack. Therefore, the Russian forces must push them back before they grow even stronger. Labora agrees and begins forming a new strategy. Before Charon leaves, Lieutenant Labora calls him into his room and gives him a watch. He tells him to keep it safe and says he expects him to return it after completing the mission. His words clearly mean that both soldiers must return alive. With this understanding, Charon and Gurav set out on their dangerous task. Among the two German snipers lying in ambush, one is a highly skilled marksman named Schultz. He is the same sniper who was seen observing the Russians earlier. For a brief moment, Schultz leaves his position due to a personal need and instructs his partner not to fire until he returns. Meanwhile, Charon takes his position and waits patiently. Ivanov, inside the bunker, prepares his machine gun. As soon as he receives the signal, he opens fire. Ignoring the warning given to him, the second German sniper takes aim at the Russians. Ivanov is struck by a bullet, but his helmet saves his life. Earlier, Charon had instructed Guriev to first locate the sniper's exact position before taking a shot. Using his binoculars, the German sniper notices some clothing lying in the distance. Mistaking it for a Russian soldier, he immediately fires. The sound of the shot reveals his location to Charon. Charon quickly takes aim and fires at him. Although the sniper is protected by his helmet, Charon gets close and engages him directly. A fierce struggle breaks out between the two. In the end, Charon overpowers and kills the sniper. After the fight, Charon drags the body back to the Russian bunker. The soldiers are overjoyed to see the German and pull him inside. Once secured, the prisoner is interrogated about German artillery positions. Fearing for his life, he reveals crucial information. When asked about German snipers, he admits that they have a highly skilled sharpshooter named Schultz. He warns, if he attacks, he will wipe them all out. After receiving this intelligence, the officers begin planning their next move. Meanwhile, Charon's successful mission earns him the admiration of the entire unit. Even the food server recognizes his bravery and gives him 2 soldiers' portions at once. The next day, Lieutenant Labora calls Charon for a new mission. A scout team led by a sergeant plans to break through German lines and attack directly. Labora assigns Charon to accompany them as their sniper. Before departing, Charon wishes to return Labora's watch. Labora replies, "I won't take this back just yet. Complete this mission first and then give it to me as a gift." That night, the scout team discusses the plan in detail. Under cover of darkness, they crawl through the grass and cross the German barbed wire. With great effort, they manage to advance past enemy lines. They reach a German camp and hide in a pit, successfully avoiding detection. By morning, they arrive at a river. The sergeant decides to push forward and asks Charon to provide cover. As the soldiers advance, a bullet suddenly strikes one of them. The dangerous German sniper, Schultz, had been lying in wait and begins taking out the Russians one by one. Being a seasoned marksman, Schultz nearly eliminates the entire team. Only Charon survives, remaining under cover. Schultz spots Charon and prepares to take his shot. But Charon, noticing the sniper's position, uses a mirror to locate Schultz and fires. After shooting Schultz, Charon moves forward. Suddenly, a landmine explodes near his feet, throwing him to the ground. Several German soldiers arrive and drag him to the German officer's quarters. Charon is brought before the German officer, von Rulich. Rulich tells Charon, "We will keep you here as a guest and provide you with good meals, but you must help us. You are to read a written statement saying, 'I am doing very well after being captured by the Germans, and I am receiving excellent food here. Therefore, all of you must stop fighting and surrender to the Germans.'" Hearing this, Charon explains that he is from Siberia and cannot speak Russian fluently. He adds that the men in his unit understand very little Russian. So he says, "I want to speak in my local language." The German officer agrees. Charon begins speaking in Siberian, saying, "I am trapped here. They have many soldiers, and they could be eliminated if they attack from any direction. Because the Germans do not understand a single word of Siberian, they cannot comprehend what Charon is actually saying. However, they begin to suspect he is speaking nonsense. They snatch the microphone from his hand and, instead of treating him well, lock him in a dark room. Charon knows that a soldier named Nikolai in his unit understands Siberian. He hopes that Nikolai will hear the broadcast, inform the lieutenant, and help them learn the Germans' true position so they can come to his rescue. But will this trick work? We will find out shortly. Meanwhile, the German sniper, Schultz, visits Officer Rulik. He warns Rulik that the Russian they have captured is actually a sniper. He explains that Charon has killed many of their men and is far more skilled than any other sniper. Schultz says there is no point in keeping him alive. Hearing this, Officer Rulik orders a soldier to bring Charon to him. Just as the soldier arrives, Charon seizes the opportunity and escapes. As he flees, morning begins to break. He comes across an old motorcycle near the German lines and tries to take it with him. However, some men arrive and capture him. These men are Jews hiding in Soviet territory to escape the Germans. When they learn that Charon is a Russian soldier, they decide to help him. Charon tells them he needs a radio to communicate with his base. They provide him with the radio. Using his wits, Charon begins singing a song in Siberian. He does this so that even if the Germans track the radio frequency, they will not understand anything. He uses the melody of the song to convey his location and the Germans' plans. Meanwhile, his friend Nikolai hears the song over the radio and immediately realizes that Charon is alive and sending messages. Nikolai informs his commanding officer, who begins planning an attack. At that moment, Lieutenant Labora enters the room. Shergrov tells him to remain silent and listen carefully to Charon. Charon reports that the Germans have numerous artillery pieces, 3 tanks, and heavy weapons. Lieutenant Shergrov confirms that his suspicions were correct. The Germans are preparing for a final attack. Labora begins considering requesting reinforcements and weapons from high command. But Shergrov believes that no one will trust him because no one will believe information given by a captured Russian. Everyone will assume that the Germans forced him to say all of this. Therefore, they will have to face the danger on their own. Meanwhile, Charon realizes that the Germans will soon advance with their tanks. He must stop them at any cost. If he blows up the bridge through the village, the Germans will not be able to advance with their tanks. He asks the guerrillas for a rifle and bullets. His plan is to attach an old motor shell he found to the bridge and fire it from a distance. Hearing his plan, they agree to provide him with the rifle and bullets. Meanwhile, the radio operator at the German camp traces the signal, records Charon's voice, and plays it for Rulik. At that moment, the German lieutenant is asking Rulik for permission to attack the Russians. At first, Rulik tells him to wait, but after hearing Charon's voice, he realizes that Charon has passed all the information to the Russians. He immediately orders preparations for the attack. Rulik calls back the sniper and assigns him the mission to kill Charon. He asks where Charon can be found in the dense forest. Schultz replies that he has always killed Russians near the bridge. He adds that for the Russians, the bridge and the river act like magnets, so Charon will surely come to cross the bridge, and he will be waiting there in ambush. Lieutenant Rulik promises Schultz an Iron Cross medal if he kills Charon. Hearing this, Schultz sets off on his mission. Meanwhile, Charon receives only 2 bullets and a hunting rifle from the guerrillas. He takes them alone and reaches the bridge. He first sets up the motorized shell and then takes position, waiting for the tanks to arrive. Meanwhile, the German army attacks the Russians with heavy artillery. The Russian soldiers struggle desperately to survive under the shadow of death, hoping that Charon will somehow save them. The Germans use machine guns and cannons, inflicting heavy losses on the Soviet soldiers. Lieutenant Labora gives a motivational speech, urging everyone to advance fearlessly. Inspired, the Russian soldiers charge at the enemy like lions, despite fearing for their lives. Many soldiers are killed by machine gun fire, but the others keep pushing forward. Sniper Guriev single-handedly eliminates several German soldiers. The main problem, however, is the machine gun fire, which is decimating the Russian soldiers. Stopping this machine gun fire is crucial to winning the battle. Guriev, risking his life, crawls forward to find the perfect angle to take out the machine gunners. After covering a short distance, he takes position and eliminates the machine gunners one by one. As soon as the machine gun fire ceases, the Russians advance with renewed strength and begin to rout the Germans. Meanwhile, Charon lies in ambush in the forest, waiting for the tanks to arrive so he can destroy them along with the bridge. At that moment, German sniper Schultz arrives, searching for Charon, and takes up his position. As the German tanks approach the bridge, Charon fires his hunting rifle but misses. Hearing the shot, Schultz locates Charon. He spots a body in the bushes and mistakes it for Charon taking a shot. Seeing the target fall, Schultz believes he has killed Charon. He approaches the body to confirm. Unbeknownst to him, Charon had used the body as a trap. As Schultz reaches the spot, Charon sneaks up from behind and lands a headshot, sending him flying. Having run out of ammunition, Charon picks up Schultz's rifle. Just as the tanks reach the center of the bridge, he takes careful aim and detonates the motor shell. The blast destroys the entire bridge and the German tanks. No tank can now reach the Russian bunker. Terrified by the Russian attack, the German soldiers flee for their lives. The Russians capture the German base and their commander, Rulik, is taken prisoner. Germany suffers a crushing defeat in this battle. In the film's final scene, we see the brave sniper Charon return. All the soldiers give him a grand welcome, and the movie ends there.